Alright, we're back to the books, ladies and germs. We got ourselves Yu-Gi-Oh! Meridian, Chapter 1, written by Obus Among Us, or Among Us, or whatever. Either way, ugh. Anyway, for those who remember Yu-Gi-Oh! The Awakened Season 2, Chapter 4, or Episode 4, whatever, you may remember that big cast of cameos they had when the whole World Machine thing activated, and there was one group that I didn't recognize in the cafe. Well, that's because that crew is the crew of Yu-Gi-Oh! Meridian, which we have here right now. And we're going to look into their story. There's been 2 chapters posted so far, and a 3rd shortly along the way, so I will link the archive your own work thing in the description below, of course. But with all that said and done, there's going to be just a reading. So if you just want to get it read to you, probably badly, here we are. Anyway, let's not dilly-dally anymore, get right into the events with Yu-Gi-Oh! Meridian. Alright, summary. A group of 4 wake up in a maximum security prison with no recollection of how they got there. Isn't that Stone Ocean? I didn't watch part 6. All that binds them together now is an emblem branded on each of them, and a similar story of how they ended up there. So they have no idea how they got there, but they have a feeling. Alright. With some assistance, the group now called the Pastless seeks out a mysterious cult associated with this emblem. Part of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Dragonverse created by Dusan Darkwolf. Chapter 1. The prime time of your life. Apparently these are all based off of songs, but I don't actually know that one. But I know the time of your life, so give me that one, dang it! It's close enough! Anyway, credits. Created and written by Obus Among Us. Dual scripted by Alan TCG and Obus. I'm just going to call him Obus moving forward. Written overseen by Spooky Electronics, Dusan Darkwolf, and Dealer in Faith. Because of its writing involved, odds are Spooky's involved in some way, shape, or form. Characters by Obus and Spooky Electronics. And if you hear that pitter-patter, there's my dog walking underneath my table because, of course, when she has the entire room to her, the entire house to choose from, she chooses next to be under my table. It's adorable, but it's also like, really? Anyway, moving on. We got ourselves the prime time of your life. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Apologies, I'll get that out of my system. Sulphur Grove, maximum security prison. Sulphur Grove, Angel Grove's evil twin. For some, the end of the line, where the majority of criminals with heavy ties to dual spirits wound up. So this is to keep you safe from Naga in Yu-Gi-Oh! Arcadia. Good to know. Or it's where your her number one spot should be. This is where all the dual spirits are. I'm just gonna go there. People who have willingly and purposefully used dual spirits to the point of being deemed a threat to society. So they're either way. You had to have done something heinous with a dual spirit to end up here. This dual spirit didn't help an old lady cross the street. In fact, he pushed her into the street. You bastard! And yet, some people here have yet to fit that assumption. Well, oh wow, the police kept getting people who were innocent. If I had a nickel, I would have more than 2 nickels. We'll just leave it at that. In one of the cells, Sulphur Grove rests a very interesting youth. A young 20-something with purple hair sat lazily in the cot of his cell. He wore the standard Sulphur Grove prisoner uniform, with the addition of his trademark beanie, and the one item he was allowed to keep. Around his neck, a suppression device was placed, an invention of clandestine agency, with a known hatred for dual spirits. Okay, so there's one article of clothing, and this collar keeps you from accessing the dual spirits. I'm going to be doing this quite a bit, but then again, if I want to get this to be done in less than 2 hours, I'm just going to read. So what? The man thought to himself. It's only 13 days in, and I'm thriving. As he began to slip into a daydream, a female prison guard slammed her nightsticks against the bars of the cell door. Oi, Campbell! He woke in fright and rolled off the cot and onto the cold, hard floor of the cell. Ugh, what do you want, lady? He groggled, retorted at the banging. Doyle, right? The guard shouted. You got a visitor. Doyle lay on the ground, still not recovered from the abrupt awakening. Awakening? Oh, no. Anyway, he sluggishly raised his hand in the air. Yes, Doyle and me. I is him. I'm... He announced groggily. But who want to see me at this hour? He did just fall face first, so we can forgive a little Tarzan language. The guard continued. Don't know. Don't care. All details of the meetings are classified. Now get on your knees and tell me you love me. I mean, and hold your hands in the air. Doyle slightly groaned and complied, with mental facilities refilling with his trademark energy. Doyle began his grim and casual smirk. You want to read me my rights? Maybe tell me I have the right to an attorney? That the county of Astropia will provide me with one if I can't afford one? I will be owed some cream cheese and a bagel. Enough, Campbell! The guard said before cutting off with a backhand across the face. In addition to those rights you yourself mentioned, you also have the right to remain silent, you know. Doyle grimaced as he blinked expectantly. This was far from the first dosage of pain from his big mouth, but that was how he always was, at least as far as he could remember. Ugh, for each hip there's always 12 genuine laughs. Tough crowd, very tough crowd, he replied, defiantly tugging his imaginary collar. But there was a collar. Whatever, I'm looking too much into it. After the entire debacle, Doyle swiftly stood up and went off with the guard. As they walked down the corridor, Doyle made eye contact with another inmate. They were noticeably diminutive in stature compared to the rest of the prison population. He seemed rather nervous, clearly distressed. He held one arm with the other, swiftly looking down and marching onwards with his adjacent prison guard. Doyle thought to himself, how'd he end up here? It looks like he'd struggle to bend a lollipop stick. Careful, I've seen anime. It's the small, petite ones that are like that you can bend with a piece of straw. They're the ones you're really gonna watch out for. It's either them or the overly buff ones. There's no middle ground. He shook off the thought and marched onwards, approaching a nearby interrogation room. A green open light was on, and the door was already open. The guard motioned to Doyle and replied, "In you go!" much to his bewilderment. "That's it? Not even gonna walk with me? Has your faith in me gone the way of fiendish lacrima?" He desperately quipped. The guard stared blankly at him. She motioned with the nightstick to go in. Doyle groaned in failure and somberly walked in. Another episode of The Doyle Show having come to a sour end. And that's the end of the chapter, everyone. Honestly, it was a... no. Suffolk Grove, maximum security prison, interrogation room. The door slammed shut behind Doyle, the pressurized lock swirling and cracking the second that the door shut. And he turned to face the room, only to find it pitch black. And then it wasn't. A dimly lit little bulb flicked to life. Now he could make things out. There was a mirror, most certainly a two-way, in the back with a table and two chairs. Waiting for Doyle was a figure in a chair facing directly towards him and the door. The silhouetted figure spoke, speaking with a gruff yet welcoming voice. "Good evening, Mr. Campbell. I am the warden of this complex." I do a gruff voice, but my voice isn't already the best, and I'm coughing on it, so forgive me. Doyle sat in the ever so slightest of intrigues. This did not cause his usual shtick to falter, however. "So, what's the story, Morning Glory?" he asked. The warden grinned slightly, leaning forward to be more visible in the light. He was an older man, somewhere in his mid-30s, from Doyle's estimates. He had brownish-red hair that extended into a ponytail on one end, and a beard on the other. His triangle shades rested on his nose. All below the massive streak of orange hair near his left eye, he wore a somewhat militaristic outfit, one that mixed combat effectiveness with a refined regality. A cameo vest rested up top an armor plate over his vitals. Doyle noted that in caution. No place like Suffolk Grove. "You really are fascinating, as your file suggests, Doyle. I reckon you don't care much for formalities, do you?" the warden asked. Just imagine the warden from Danny Phantom. Doyle promptly replied with resounding, "Nah, life's too short to worry about the nitty-gritty. If everyone's dug into how much lint in their dryer accumulated, we get nowhere now, would we? Maybe there'd be a lot less war, that's it. No, we go into war over who has less lint in their dryer." No matter what the situation is, humans will always find a way to beat the crap out of each other. That's one thing you'll learn through history. Anywho, the warden nodded, taking in Doyle's worldview. "Well, that's certainly one way to look look at things. I'm going to level with you, Mr. Candle. Normally, I don't offer inmates something like this, but this is a special incident that came up that I would like your expertise in. Yugioh put a hand on his chin, clearly stunned by the warden's assertion. Why me exactly? There's like 17,000 other inmates in here. Why am I special? You tell me. Someone's file doesn't have this many redactions for nothing, the warden said, sliding a file over. He appeared to have expected such an answer. Well, clearly you hand me an SCP article. It's nothing but redactions to cover the fact that the writer couldn't come up with something that could explain this. Doyle feverishly flipped through the folder's contents, finding what the warden said to be true. A majority of his file was redacted, coded in black ink to render it indecipherable. He couldn't believe his eyes. Dang, in only 2 weeks? The warden suddenly became visibly puzzled by his eyes. That can't be right. You were brought in and immediately taken to the infirmary a few months ago. Doyle's stomach sank at what he heard. Excuse me? Did you just say months? Surely it hasn't been that long. The warden tilted his head. Nah, by my counts, you've been here for 4 months now. Heck, had a heck of a shiner on your face to boot. You were just kind of silent for a while. Then one day, you kind of sprang to laugh, like one of those puppet thingamabobs. Doyle couldn't believe what he was hearing. 4 months? But it was just March. I'm just gonna read this real quick. The warden held up a finger. One moment, please, he calmly said as he got up and left the room. The moment he left, Doyle flew into hysterics. He began sweating profusely, even taking off his beanie and using it to using it to wipe the sweat off his forehead. How did he get here? What led him to having such an injury? Why can he not remember anything over the last few months? These were all questions he was determined to answer. Okay, so I have my theories already, but I'm going to take too long. But it seems like he's been here for a while and lost track of time, or maybe this isn't his original body. Maybe it's sort of like a shark scenario in Sexual, National overtaking the body of Reginald. Spoiler warning for those who haven't seen the 10-year-old show. Ugh. Anyway, a few minutes later, the sum of what felt like an eternity, the warden returned to the room. He brought over a dual disc and a sleek navy and gold colored model, similar to those worn in Dual Academy. With a few clicks of the button, he turned the disc and showed Doyle the current date, July 19th, 2021. So this is the future of the Dragonverse, and well after the end of Gyro's reign, because the well-known beloved character of Sully Jameson said it was the year of 2014, and we're in 2021. So this is 7 years after the events. The Dragonverse does have its own timeline, so don't think about it too much. It's much easier this way. Actually, the Dragonverse is way easier if you stop thinking about it. But to be fair, that's a lot of universes. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. I did kind of like the moment where he just had the mental breakdown, because I think that's what we all have. I've only been here for 13 days, or suddenly it was 4 months. Very nice of him to leave the room like that. Anyway, Doyle could feel an all-consuming dread as the reality of the situation sank in. So you're telling me I just lost 4 months of my life? The warden firmly shook his head. Sounds like it. I tried to get this copy of your file looked at, but had no lucks thus far. But you are not the only one. Do me a solid, boy. Go over the mirror right over there and pull up your sleeve. Doyle smirked as he did so. What? Want me to give the officers behind the two-way mirror some tickets to the gun show? Oh, sorry to disappoint you, but what? He was cut off, noticing something. A distinct mark. Something had been branded on his skin. On the back of his upper arm was a peculiar symbol. It resembled two basic diamond shapes with another, and a pair of angled bracelets flanking their left and right sides. The branding seemed old, and as no pain or heat was steaming from it. Yeah, it has to be. It's not still smoking, so it can't be new. That's a fact. As Doyle examined the mark in horror, the warden continued. You and the other 3 inmates all come in with the same mark branded onto them. All injured and all at the same time. I've had one of this facility's brightest minds looking into what kind of scrap you got yourselves into before this. Doyle was even more confused. Well, whatever this was, I say I give them a thorough whooping, but that shiner you described would suggest otherwise. Right. There's going to be a meeting in the next hall over, the warden stated. You, myself, and one assisting me will be with this anomaly, and the 3 other individuals with these marks. He immediately stood up, prompting Doyle to follow suit. Maybe in here some of his questions could be made into something closer to sense. The warden then had a realization. He stopped, causing Doyle to walk into him by accident. The warden was completely unfazed. I completely forgot. Doyle fell to the ground completely with a small oof. The warden turned around and pointed. We need to get you back to your civvies, sir. He said before realizing what had happened. He looked down, still pondering, and picked up the now down Doyle. My condolences, partner. But come on, we'll hit a changing room before we mosey into a briefing area. Okay. Yeah. Suffolk Grove Maximum Security Prison briefing room. The warden escorted Doyle into the nearby briefing room. He had just finished changing out of his prison jumpsuit and into normal clothes. Now to get out of here. No. Doyle's standard attire consisted of red undershirt, blue linings, and a middle underneath a cyan jacket with a purple trim. A pair of tattered jeans led down from his belt with a brass buckle. 2 black denim tennis shoes. The usual beanie now had a complete pair of headphones with a slight blue foam padding. Doyle took in his surroundings. It was a dimly lit auditorium of sorts, cramped, dire, and not at all welcoming. The projector hung dangerously low from the ceilings, projecting nothing but static at the moment. Aside from Doyle and the warden, there were 3 others in the room. Each one had a collar, much like Doyle's. I thought he didn't have a collar. I know what they mean, like short collar, but... The warden swiftly took a lectern from the neighborhood of the project... sorry. I'm going to read this one again. The warden swiftly took to a lectern that neighbor that... He went by the projection screen. There, I Englished good. He cleared his throat and tapped the microphone. The resulting feedback caused everyone present to recoil in pain as it droned over within a matter of seconds. Anyway, the warden continued, my name is Justin Shaw, and all inmates and purposes, for all intents and purposes, I'd like you kindly to call me either Warden or Justy. Not Justine, not Justy Wusty, not Justy Wusty Lemon Crusty, not even Justy Timberlake. Only Justy or the Warden. You realize you're inviting it now. Never give a bully nickname ideas. I mean, granted, if they'll do that by themselves, but don't help them. Doyle's and the others in the audience snickered at the nickname. Only my wife can call me Justy Wusty Lemon Crusty. No one else. This other individual was a tan-skinned woman, roughly around Doyle's age, with a tad taller than him. She was voluptuous, tall, She had voluptuous, dark turquoise hair that faded to the blacks towards the ends. She wore black boots with a semi-transparent skirt with a heart-shaped belt buckle over it. Above that was a red-cut hoodie with short sleeves exposing a lot of skin on her arm and midsection. The most distinctive trait about her was that her dark blue mask over her face, which highlighted her silver eyes, complete with peculiar diamond-shaped pupils. Doyle did not pay much attention to this, as he was too awestruck by her beauty. She was drop-dead gorgeous. How could someone like her end up in here? He pondered to himself. Oh great, she has silver eyes. Look out for Grim! Justy irritatedly cleared his throat. As I was gonna say, you were all here for a very important reason. You were all brought to this complex at the exact same time with similar injuries and similar markings. Lucky for you, I brought in the finest on our payroll to try and make some sense of this. She will take it from here. Please give a warm welcome to Miss Marielle DeMar! Or Maribel DeMar. If I'm not stuttering or slurring a word in this, you come in the wrong. Yeah. Justy left the stage after a few seconds later, a woman emerged and moved towards the lectern. She was quiet yet also flighty in her approach. Her silver green hair was down to her elbows, and part of it was even further down in a ponytail. She had olive skin tone and wore a teal and red outfit, from her neck to her shoes. The green sun visor rested atop her head, with a pair of glasses resting over her green eyes. The only exposed skin on her was a pair of intentional cuts on her sleeves with her hands, one of which was clutching a coffee. Be like a rock climber carries a pick. There were dark circles under her bright green eyes. The knights had not been kind to her by the looks of things. Mirabelle meekly spoke into the microphone. Salutations! My name is Mirabelle Damar, and I... She interrupted herself to take a sip of coffee, ever her panacea. Ever her weakness. Have taken a break from my duties as the prisoner's calculus teacher to take a look into the case that is, well, you all. It's nice to know the prison has an education system, I guess, you know, the younger ones that were put away. Everyone stayed back with blank expressions, ready for the lecture to be over. Maribel sheepishly tugged at her collar. Oh no, she has one of those on too! Well, I hope to not make things up much of your time. All four of you have entered the complex with a matching emblem branding each of you. Doyle Campbell, the drifter whose most basic instinct is to ask, why are we running? Doyle loudly gasped and raised a hand to the chest in mock offense. I have never been so offended for something that is so gosh darn right! It's like the gif I say that when it's like, I have never been so offended by something I 100% agree with! He practically chanted that, wearing the most sincere smile on his face since he had arrived at Sulphur Grove. And self-proclaimed funny man. That was almost a terrible slur. The self-proclaimed funny man. Let's just hope you all have the skills to back up what we have planned for you, Maribel followed up. Doyle raised a brow and a hand in confusion, but was quietly silenced by Maribel moving right along. And by looking at some early test results done in our in-house dual spirit spectrometer, your dual spirit is what, Miss Delmar? Doyle asked with a smirk, holding back a giddy laugh for an attic ghost. Are you freaking kidding me? Doyle practically howled with laughter. Yes, that's my trade secret. I got a Mementorian Gothic dual spirit, he beamed. I'm gonna freaking terrorize this pronunciation. Doyle looked around expectantly. Noticing the room seemed impressed. Doyle did not even break kayfabe and instead decided to dazzle everyone with his abilities. Well, if you're laughing now, just wait until I summon my Sword of Dark Blade! The sounds of grasshoppers chirping droned, and the imaginary tumbleweed drifted into the room. But nothing happened. Doyle looked down in frustration. Drat! I've been foiled by a dog collar! Mementos wins worlds and no one gives a crap. Granted, it was 2021, but still. The tan woman from earlier let out a small chuckle, enough to cause Doyle and Arrow to turn their attention to her. Next we have Calypso Fontaine, the diva queen of the women's wing of the complex. The tan woman Doyle had been ogling at slowly waved her fingers at the name drop. All that very relaxed and reclined posture. Charmed, I'm sure, she radiated confidence and charisma. The pleasure is all yours, dears. Oh, sorry, all mine, dears. Sorry, I just read this and I just, you get an image of what the character is going to be like in your head and you just force it. Doyle was slightly, absolutely enamored by her. Even her voice sounded like a god's, he thought. Little did he realize, he felt himself blushing, a blushing mess in front of everyone. Calypso took heed of this and began unraveling her newest string doll. You're staring, she playfully flustered. She was right. Doyle had been staring at her rather sizable chest. Oh gee, sorry, just a pretty lady, wow, he said, eyes darting around like a hummingbird. You got caught staring. You're dead. At least that's what it feels like. Moving forward. Calypso chuckled to herself. See, anyone can't get enough of me, she triumphantly said as she flicked her hair. Maribel cleared her throat, having begun slightly brushing herself from the sight of the scene in front of her. Ma'am, this is a prison. I don't think this is the kind of place where you want attention from people, women or men. Anyway, her dual spirit is, allow me to save you your breath, both figuratively and literally. Calypso interrupted and gestured to Maribel. You there, will you be a dear and remove this blasted collar from my neck, sweetie? Maribel raised an eyebrow and shook her head. As long as you're in your best behavior, man, if you try anything, the guards outside will have orders to terminate you. She approached Calypso and put the key in the back of her collar, releasing it from her neck. That's all I had to do? Doyle. No. Anyway, Calypso rubbed the back of her neck and stretched. Thanks a million, Mary. She retorted, complete with a wink. Maribel rolled her eyes and then her hand, motioning her to get on with it. On cue, Calypso held up her left hand as both of her eyes filled with a deep blue. Suddenly, Maribel's coffee began to swirl into a tornado of liquid rising out of her cup. Maribel stared in awe. Calypso released her eternal grip from the liquid, and causing it to splash back into the cup. Not a drop spilled. Evagishki Neramanus. She lets me control oxygen and hydrogen, the basic building blocks of life, and water, and of course, coffee. And trust me, doll, there's plenty more where that came from. After concluding her mission statement, Calypso shot Maribel a wink. The new voice of the crowd erupted. That's the spirit, bestie. Show 'em why no lizard person's ever standing a chance against Team Brianna. A fiery passion filled her words, all which came from a pint-sized powerhouse. A short little lady that practically leaped out of her seat with glee. She had orange to purple hair with a massive blue streak into her bangs. The hair was to her shoulders and below, and ended in two pigtails above. A pair of gleaming maroon-red eyes hid below, staring around in mania. She wore a grayish-brown crop top with a set of three green shark teeth strung into a necklace above her. Her right arm had a pair of spiked bands, one of her upper arms into another wrist below that was just brown hair, her skirt that extended to her knees, a belt complete with a sword, its sheath wrapped around her. Sorry, just stuck with the long words. I was right about to get to you, Maribel remarked. Brianna Argitanus. Conspiracy nut with a mean streak and a mile wide. Dual spirit is, wait, there's no data here. Oh, she's a conspiracy nut. That means she's going to be right in about 5 years about everything. Okay, maybe not everything, but we're going to move forward. As I keep saying, I sidetrack myself. Brenna gave a small shrug in the notion. I suppose there is less data on me than that's inevitable. 5G brainwashing. I suppose there is less data on me than that inevitable 5G brainwashing. She feverishly leaned over at Doyle. Hey, fresh meat, you stocked up on silver? The 5G wireless towers caused COVID. It's a good thing the COVID didn't happen in the Dragonverse, I assume. Most of the universe just skipped COVID entirely, for obvious reasons. Doyle shrank at the frantic ball of frenzy descending her intense red glare directly upon him. Sorry, man, my cocoa's a bit rusty. Could you say that? My cuckoo's a bit rusty. Could you say that in Astropian? They have their own language? Man. Brenna sat back upright and gave a huffy face. Phew. Guess I'll have to get a new client to work with. She proceeded to pull out a pair of spectacles, a pen and paper out of thin air. So this is your first time buying end-time production goods, she said, clicking her pen. Maribel, having lost her seemingly endless patience, chimed in suddenly. How did you... Never mind. We need to get a move on. Miss Argentanus, could you please introduce your brother so we can get our introductions out of the way so we can move along? Maribel motioned over to the fourth and final marked individual in the group. Doyle recognized him. He was a shy figure he had met in the hall that had silver hair and red eyes much like Brina. His pale face had a healed scar in the shape of an X over the eyes on his forehead. A lime green vest with a purplish pink core that strapped over the dark green shirt. He wore a pair of gloves, leggings that matched the core of his vest, and he wore jean shorts that had a yellow and black belt. After a beat, the boy had yet to say anything. Brina rushed to his side, energy as higher than ever. Oh, this is my brother Isa. This is my bro Isa. He's so interesting, let me tell you. I'd rather you please don't, sis, the boy replied shyly. I can take it from here. My name is Isa Argentis. I'm 20 years of age. My dual spirit is classified. That is, I would like to say it at the time, please. Short, sweet, and to the point. Neat. said Maribel. Gotta respect that. Alright now, instructions out of the way. You four, as well as myself, are are to go on a journey. My research has connected these marks to a mysterious cult operating across Astropia for the past century or so. Most recent records of them refer to them as the next step. Other than that, I have been unable to determine. But the markings on all of you match those seen on the former sanctuaries and safe houses belonging to them. Calypso put her hand on her chin. So this means we had a bit of a rumble with this lot. They must have put some force to take me and Brina out. Wait, you two already know each other before you got here? Doyle questioned. Why, yes, darling. We're close friends, Calypso calmly stated. Yeah, she really gets me in my theories, Brenna stated, assuming her position as Calypso's guard dogs. Mirabelle reeled everybody back in. We have received anonymous tips about an individual who claims they seek extraction from the next step. They intend to provide us with information about their activities, goals, and whereabouts in exchange for us arranging them to set them under witness protection. You four are scheduled for a class meeting with them to extract them and return them here for debriefing. And what do we get for doing this, if I may ask? Isa asked shyly, genuinely questioning in her voice. Mirabelle raised in his voice. Mirabelle raised her voice. Well, we are prepared to offer you 1 year off your sentence. It's now reduce your years in here to 99. That should get most of the way through your sentences. Remember, you may appear being the heroes of this story, but you are here for a reason. She then raised her hand and pointed at each of them. Trespassing for Doyle, shoplifting for Calypso, assault an authority figure for Brina, and redacted for Isa. He practically shrank into his seat, worrying about the other's judgment. Brina patted him on the shoulder, calm and soothing despite her demonstrated tendencies. It's okay, Isa. You're still the greatest big bro I've ever had, she said, beaming. Isa let out a small sigh at his goofball sister. I'm your only brother, Breenie. Calypso looked at her with a full grin. Calypso looked out with a full grin. She leaned towards Doyle. Have those two always been? Those two have always been close. She checked on him every week when he turned in for himself. When he turned himself in. Before and after she got thrown in here too. What a surprise, the brother and sister are close. I'm sure. Doyle, puzzled, inquired, Do you know for what, ma'am? Calypso's expression grew somber. He doesn't like to talk about it. He considered he'd ended up here at all places. I'm not sure I want to know. You ever see the movie Holes? Mirabelle, or read the book, I guess. Mirabelle left the stage only for Justy to reappear a few seconds later and take the lectern. If y'all would sign the paperwork provided here by Miss Delmar, we'll work on getting you all ready to roll out this evening. Now, for now, wait in the spare cafeteria until things get finalized. There's a spare cafeteria? What, in case one is overcrowded? Well, I guess no. I guess if there's a fight in one cafeteria, you want to move those that aren't causing the fight out of there as soon as possible and let them eat their lunch, I guess. I've never been to prison, so I wouldn't know, and I'd never plan to go there, let's just say. With this, the four marked individuals proceeded to get up, sign the paperwork, and then follow a prison guard to the space cafeteria. As they moved, Brina perked up with a suggestion. You guys think we should make a team name? That sounds like a great idea, Breenie, Calypso said with a smile. What is your cheeky little brain thinking? Brina was about to speak up when she realized she had not actually thought that far ahead. I don't know, I haven't thought that far ahead. How about the past list? A cheerful woman chimed in, but it was not from one of them. The four turned around and found it to be Maribel. She had followed them in a brisk pace. Because we have no browser history? Doyle quipped. Two things. One, I don't want to think about your browser history. And two, it's because you're all blank slates, Maribel elaborated. We all have nothing from before this, so might as well use our new lease on life to carve out that path forward. I quite like that, Isaac replied, breaking his long silence. Well, it sounds good. Well, looks like we got the Isa seal of approval. Any objections? Not a word. Maribel softly smiled. Then the pass list it is, then, Brina shouted jubilantly. Imagine telling that to a supervillain team. Oh no! It's the pass list! Oh man, this is the most amount of agreement something I've ever gotten to since my 10 planets theory. Calypso chuckled. You mean the one where you convinced Charon was a planet? Brianna shook her head intensely. You mean Pluto got to be a planet, and Charon didn't? Seems like something there's something fishy about that. Guess Charon's a Greek god. I think it's the one that brings you to death. It's either the Centaur's the one with an eye. Charon is the one that brings you to the underworld. Sulphur Grove Maximum Security Prison Spare Cafeteria. But not as fishy as those old fish sticks, Brina shouted. These are devilish. These are delish, she said before devouring one ravenously. They don't rank anywhere near pretzel sticks tier, but they're a solid B, no, A tier regardless. The passes had made themselves a meal and were enjoying it compared to their usual gruel. So the first one is probably for the bottom of the barrel. You deserve to be here. You know, they get the grimy stuff. Meanwhile, the higher ups and the ones that are probably more well behaved and maybe their charges were a bit more fraudulent. You can go into the spare one where we serve you actual food. That's my headcanon anyway. We're probably not going to come back here, so I can make my headcanons about this place as much as I want to. Anyway, they enjoyed their meal. Calypso especially. I must say, Mirabelle, your access to the commissary was worth the trip. Even if poor Doyle's legs nearly gave out from carrying it all the way back, she teased. I guess frick it. Doyle snapped back. There was no need for that There was no need for that much spam! Me, when I opened my email. The fast list spent the next few hours having an absolute feast from the spoilers of the commissary. All this, as the sun began to lower, a thought occurred to Doyle. He wanted to prove himself to the other members of the pass list. Doyle stood at attention. Miss Maribel, do you mind if we get our duel discs and deck back? I think this journey calls for a duel to serve as its maiden voyage. Maribel raised her hand to her chin, stroking as she thought of all possible repercussions. Not even a full 5 seconds later, she already made up her mind. Yeah, sure, why not? Wait, really? Doyle replied, confused. Yes, sir. I'll call on one of the guards to bring them down this way. Maribel chuckled delightfully. Alright, who wants to throw down? Doyle asked. At first, nobody took Doyle's offer. Then someone spoke up. I'd like to duel. Doyle turned around to see it was Isa. Doyle recoiled a bit in surprise. Isa, are you sure you're up for this? Isa looked around nervously for a second, already second-guessing himself. But the more he thought about it, the more his resolve strengthened. He hasn't got anything. He wasn't going to be afraid of himself anymore. Yeah, I'm up for this, Doyle. Now I'll get to see his duel spirit. A few moments after this decision, a prison guard came in with Doyle's duel disc and deck box. It was a classic model, customized by Doyle himself. The usual bright silvers and cyans were shifted to a deeper purple and turquoise pattern. Isa, instead, had only received a deck box, much to Doyle's intrigue. Y'all leave your duel disc back at home, dude? He quipped. Isa realized what he meant by that and gasped. Oh right, I forgot about that! Doyle looked around hurriedly. Anyone got a spare 4-digit price card game projector to strap on this man's forearm? He practically shouted the last part. As he looked at Dawn, he saw Calypso and Brina both sporting matching ear-to-ear smiles. Oh, someone's not in the know, Calypso. Oh, someone's not in the know, Calypso slyly remarked. Show him your trick, bro, Brina chanted. Isa nodded. For the first time in a while, he smiled. He held up his arm, and with a light grunt and a flash of cyan, a dual disc materialized out of his arm. It resembled a cyan gauntlet with a purplish disc blade on the top, and Doyle was awestruck. How did you just... What the slifer? Isa chuckled nervously. Thanks, it's a neat trick my dual spirit lets me do. Keeps me from having to drag one around all the time, you know? He was noticeably getting a bit more confident, breaking off his usual shyness. Alright, Doyle, I'm ready when you are. The two faced each other like gunslingers in the Old West. They practically slammed their decks into their dual disc, adrenaline pumping for the first time in a long time. They both took a few steps back and stared at each other directly eye to eye. They shouted in unison, "Duel!" Both duelists draw their opening hands, clearly pleased with what they drew. "Alright, Isa, I'll make the first move," Doyle confidently stated. Isa gave an excited nod back. "I'm ready." For turn 1, Doyle's turn. Both duelists have 8,000 life points. As he eyed his hand, Doyle thought frantically over the plays he could make. "I think I'll begin with this spell card, Mementolian Bone Party. This card lets me," Doyle then was interrupted by Isa. It has the effect that it has the effect I would like to activate. Since I have an effect I would like to activate, since I have no cards in my hand, I discard this card, Mocharmi Flawless. Ah, that's the Max C! He slid the card into the graveyard, slotted his disc, with his deck becoming enveloped in a green glow. Now whenever you special summon from your deck or extra deck, I get to draw a card. Crud, this can be devastating, Doyle thought to himself. Okay, just breathe, you can play through this. It's just like the Max C days. Man, I haven't been that scared of a single letter since I shoved the whole bowl of alphabet soup in. The eternal monologue was silenced by Calypso, who exaggeratedly yawned. "Campbell, do you have a response for sweet little Isa there or not? Don't tell me a single card already scrambled your brain like an egg now." Doyle snapped back to reality. "Oh right, duel. Yeah, that's fine." Isa smiled. "Proceed." Doyle smiled back. "Yeah, well, thankfully Bone Party can avoid this. So, by destroying Memento in my hand or field, I can take a Memento card from my deck and either special summon it or add it to my hand. Since Fuentes is in effect, I think I'll pop my combined creation in my hand to search Momentalian Angelwitch." Isa's face formed a slight pout. "Smart. I already played around my Fuentes. Or Flawlesses. I'm just... Frick it. Who cares? But I know that the most decks can't play around it forever." Doyle playfully shrugged. "Guilty as charged. Now then, I'll special summon Angel Witch. And I'll normal summon Angel Witch. And on summon, she lets me search another Memento monster from my deck." Back at the tables, Maribel sighed in awe. Calypso took notice of this. "Miss Delmere, why are you fawning over this dame? She's nothing special outside of the hideous crystal growths over her robes." Maribel replied, "Sorry, this is just a truly historic moment for me. Memento is a very fascinating deck. They're based on very old cards from the beginning of the game's history. It's like we're seeing an old convertible it's like seeing an old convertible from the 50s driving along the road today." This happened to me actually not too long ago. I was sitting in a parking lot at work, and then a bunch of Model Ts and stuff like that started driving past. I'm just like, was there a parade? But it is kind of cool, like seeing those old convertibles, like from the 70s and 50s, and then you look at your car and it's like, what went wrong? Okay, it's not like what went wrong. It's just like, man, there was so much character and style into those designs, and then now just like, here's the new SUV. I don't know. Maybe it's one of those where it's like, we'll look back at our cars with nostalgia and be like, man, our cars were so much better than these new pieces of crap. I don't know. Anyway, moving forward, Calypso rolled down her eyes and scoffed. "Sure, whatever you say, nerd." Isa promptly went on the offensive. "I'll chain another card. Go! Infinite Impermanence! Since I have no cards in hand, I play this trap from my hand. Since I have no cards, I play this trap from my hand. Instantly target your Angel Witch and negate its effect." Doyle smirked. "Bingo! I figured a deck with Fuentes and it would play some cards that pair along with it. So I've got this. Chain! Goblin Biker Grand Breakout!" Doyle slammed the quick play spell onto his dual disc. In an instant, Angel Witch was replaced with a small skeleton goblin armed with cyan crystals. Isa was puzzled. "A Goblin Biker card? Why do you play that?" Doyle, ever so proud of himself, chimed in. "It's a newer tech. This lets me quickly trigger my Angel Witch to replace it with a Goblin Biker monster, Memento Goblin, and fits with a Goblin monster. Momentalian Goblin fits the ball nicely and neatly. And now your Imperm lost its target, meaning Angel Witch effect resolves, and I add Memento, the Horse Mermaid one, into my hand." I am not pronouncing that thing. I refuse. That quick play may be powerful, but it cost you. Since Goblin was someone from the deck, I get to draw a card thanks to Fuentes, Isa said, doing just that. The smart little chain reaction thing going on there. Also, we've now seen the Fuentes, the hand trap. If I see one more, I'm going to suspect this kid's Naga. Fine with me. Even though we already know Naga's identity, that's a joke. Fine by me, Doyle continued. I'll have to give that some slack. That is when my turn comes. But let's have some fun, shall we? I now use the effect of Goblin. By destroying Memento on my field, I can send 2 Memento cards straight to the graveyard. Goblin then pops itself to send these 2. Doyle slipped 2 cards into his graveyard slot. Memento Cranium Burst and Memento Infusion. Next, I use the effect of the Horse Mermaid I just added. Since I have no face-up monsters that aren't Mementos, I can special summon him right to the field. Isa sensed the choke point and acted swiftly. With a summon condition like that, it's now the time I can activate the effect of the Effect Veiler on your Tatsumuta. However you pronounce its name, I'm not the only one. Doyle groaned. I'll have to allow that. No slick counter this time. Brenna leaned forward in her seat. Oh boy, you've got him hooked this time. You got him on the hook. You've got him hook, line, and sucker. Now, just like everybody who thought they could cryogenically Brenna leaned forward in her seat. Oh boy, you've got him hook, line, and sinker. Just like everybody who thought a cryogenically frozen head wasn't a famous theme park ride. Wasn't under a famous theme park ride. I get the reference. And Rebel shook her head in disbelief. Where do you hear these things from? Brenna's eyes lit up. She took a deep breath and prepared to give out a massive answer. And then as she began her tangent, the duel continued. Internet. How do you have internet in your cell? Internet. It's just a question that answers itself. Very well. I do have this extender, Memento Sheeply. Since a monster on my field was destroyed by a card effect this turn, like my Goblin, I can special summon Sheeply from my hand. Then I'll use its other effect, fishing with Tatsu. Fusing it with Tatsu. Brina spat out her soda and suddenly had a break in her tangent. A fusion summon with that little puffball? So she was giving a tangent and then had a soda in hand. I guess even when you're battling that much, you gotta take a nice break. Doyle turned to their tables and the ladies were sitting. You'd be surprised what new tricks the old dogs have picked up. Now let's mix up Fusion Summon! Level 7, Momentarian Twin Dragon! Maribel was an aide. Wow, one of the Momentum Fusion decks. Pinch me, I must be dreaming. Wait! She paused as she sipped her coffee. In my dreams, the coffee always tastes like baked beans. Okay, never mind, this is legit. Brina snickered. Better than making coffee with a lead-filled water supply. Isa chimed. Oh great, so we had... As American, I went a little too close to home. But not an effect. Moving forward! Isa chimed in. An extra deck summon means I get to draw again. Doyle continued. Now, Twin Dragon on summon can destroy a Memento monster in her hand or field to search it to 2 Memento monsters. I will pop him to grab a Horn Dragon and Mace. Maribel was crushed by the demolition of the monsters. She had always dreamt of seeing an action, and Brina comforted her while Calypso held back a small giggle. Don't worry, Maribel. Twin Dragon lets me revive a level 6 or lower Memento monster from the grave when he pops himself. Maribel immediately lit back up with a happy gasp. I'm okay now! Doyle chose to revive his Angel. I now use Fusion's Graveyard effect. By banishing it and destroying Angel Witch on my field, I can grab a Memento spell or trap card. I might as well get another Fusion while I'm at it. Now, let's mix it up once more! Isa was puzzled. Wait, you mean you have 2 Mementos in hand and Twin Dragon is a hard once per turn? That means... Doyle grinned. Memento Fusion's a very unique card. In addition to my hand and field, if a monster is destroyed by a card effect on my turn, I can use Mementos in my graveyard as material too, as long as I shuffle them right back into the deck. Everyone observed and was flabbergasted. Even Calypso was surprised. Doyle did not falter. This was all old news to him. I now fuse Sheeply, Tatsu, and Twin Dragon from my graveyard. Ruler of the deepest underworlds, continue to spread your dark influence over the realms. Extend your domination until all that stands before you kneel in your might. Fusion Summon! Level 9, Momentician, Tactile Creation King! Cthulhu? Creation King. I sound Creation King. Isa was in awe. Even as he drew another card from his deck thanks to Creation King's summon, Doyle continued. Check out my premier fusion monster. Slick, huh? And its effect is even more slick, Doyle coughed, then stayed in complete shock. Well, I better not be coming down with something. Anywho, Fusion Summon. I get to... Oh, I said I gotta say the second one book. Because I see slip, actually. I can send up to 3, yes 3, momentum cards from my deck or extra deck to the grave. And I would send Mementos Akirin, Gatic, and why not send a second copy of Creation King? Isa was stunned by this move. Why did you send another copy of your ace to the graveyard? Joe calmly replied, "Oh, in due time, my friend. But first, Gatic's effect triggers. He revives himself in the graveyard, and then, on summon, he adds a memento card from my graveyard to my hand. And I think I'll add back Bone Party." He says he picked a familiar quick play spell up. Now it's time to reveal the secret. Now it's time for the secret to be revealed. The Creation King resting in my graveyard can now be used. I banish him and add a copy of his alter ego to my hand. In other words, I grab the field spell Momentum Salient. I'll go ahead and activate it. Click so not an intrigue. Most decks live or die by their field spells. Makes me curious about what makes these sparky skeletons twinkle. Show me what you got, Doyle. It's all beauty then winked at Doyle, causing him to blush slightly. His resolve remained steadfast. Now, since I have at least 3 mementos in my graveyard, I can summon the Horned Dragon, and I add it to my hand. And now, it's time for you to play some links. I'll build my circuit. The starting conditions are 2 effect monsters. I set Gatic and Horned Dragon to the link arrows. I link summon. Link 2, Silhouette Rabbit. Ooh, Spooky showed me this one yesterday. It's an illusion monster, and really, actually really freaking good. There's no joke about it. It's just genuinely a great card. Brina and Maribel both adored the small rabbit magician that appeared on Doyle's field. He proceeded with his turn, which seemed to be reaching its climax finally. I don't believe you. This entire chapter is just going to be his turn. On summon, my rabbit lets me set a trap monster straight from my deck. I'll set Silhouette Trap to my deck. Isa chimed in. Oh no, I forgot! Fuentes' trigger since you summoned for the extra deck. Sorry, I got a little distracted. Doyle gave an Isa a restrained smile. Don't sweat, things happen and minds flutter. As long as it doesn't wander off a cliff, you're good. Isa laughed a bit. Thanks, Doyle. Nice little bit, yeah. I would have forgotten too. Doyle smiled back. Don't mention it. Now I believe it's time for my grand finale. I summon 5 memento monsters, Gatic, Horned Dragon, Ankacorn, Angel Witch, and Goblin to summon my strongest card! Let the crushing pressure reach its zenith as there remains the Forgotten Forge, a brilliant new form! Unite and crystallize Bones of the Fallen and be reborn in a new supreme life form! I special summon level 11 Momentilian Tuxegan Combined Creation! The ladies stared in awe at the behemoth standing before them. Isa nervously gulped at the sight. Doyle was enjoying everybody's shocked reactions. A bit too much, one could say. He cleared his throat. Now I set one more card face down, and then I proceed to my end phase. Momentum Celian's effect triggers, letting me set a memento spell or trap from my grave straight to the field. I'll send Momentum Celian Cranium Burst to my field, the trap card that I ejected from the graveyard slot, which Doyle then slid into his spell and trap zone. Turn 2, Isa's turn. Both life points are at 8,000. I draw, he said with confidence reassured. Round Q, Doyle immediately shotgunned the bottom of his dual disc. I'll go ahead and flip up the face down Round Q, Doyle immediately shotgunned the bottom of his dual disc. I'll go ahead and flip the face down that could literally be anything. Go! Momentilian Cranium Burst. Now not only do you have to attack a Memento monster in my field with the highest attack points, but as long as Combined Creations in the field, he can negate a monster effect on your field for the low cost of 1,000 attack points. Isa raised an eyebrow. What moment? Isa raised an eyebrow. What memento monsters? Eh? Doyle pondered. They don't have names after all, Isa said with a smile. Doyle was puzzled by Isa's assertion, but he suddenly looked up. Now that Isa's turn was at the main phase, he played the quick play spell, several off yellow tendrils, then attached to each of Doyle's monsters and drained them of their energy. All of them suddenly became monophagic, just shades of their former selves. What did you just do to them? That's Flash of Heraldry. This lets me turn your monster's name to unknown. That means you have no memento monsters on your field, and therefore your trap is now useless. He's got Heraldics! Look out! Brenna cackled into the light. That's my bro's specialty! His heraldry cards are deceivingly powerful. Oh man, Doyle's in for a world of hurt. Next I play 7th Tachyon. This spell lets me search a monster by revealing an over 100 monster from my extra deck. at the cost, it has to be the same level as the monster's rank, as well as either matching an attribute and or type. Isa rummaged through his extra deck, and then revealed its... I'll reveal... Number 102! Star Seraph Sentry. Now I can add the level 4 light monster with fairy typing from my deck to my hand. I'll pick X-Rizale. Afterwards, I am locked into Xyz monsters for the rest of the turn, and then I must place a card from my hand to the bottom of my deck. Doyle grimaced. Rizales and Heretics? He asked aloud. Isa smiled. Do you like them? Doyle grimaced, swiftly shifted into a smile. I think they're pretty dope. Isa's smile widened. Thank you very much, Doyle. Now let's go on to the fun part. I'll normal summon Ice Rizale, and when he's normal summon, I can special summon I can special summon a Rizale from the deck. I'll pick Sword Rizale. Sword lets me search for a light pyro monster. I'll take Ice Rizale. I'll take another Ice Rizale. The ice one's a light pyro? What the frig? Sorry, Anyway, now I'll use Ice and Sword to construct the overlay network. I form Rizale Duo Drive. That was going to be Duo Driver. That was the stutter. Doyle read over the card. That was the most bullshit thing in this entire freaking story. A Yu-Gi-Oh player reading their card. I'm done with the Dragonverse. It's over. It's so over. I'm kidding. Doyle read over the card, reaffirming a previous observation he had made. If I remember correctly, your Duo Driver's effect is that I cannot activate on the summon. In that case, I will chain this reverse card open! Silhouette Trick! This trap summons itself in the field as a monster. Then on a new chain, I negate a card's effect in the field up to the number of illusion monsters I control. I have 3, but only 1 is needed, so I negate Duo Driver. Isa's face dropped at that. That's a shame. At least, if I didn't have this, go! Triple Tactics talent! Since you activate a monster effect, I can pick one of 3 talents to activate, and I choose to take control of a monster in your field. I'll take control of your combined creation. And then Doyle replies, what combined creation? It doesn't have a name anymore, so you can't take it. Just post some like Duelist Kingdom bullcrap! Doyle grunted at his failure to play around the powerful spell card. He reluctantly looked at the card for combined creation of his dual disc. He reluctantly took the card for combined creation of his dual disc and handed it to Isa. Thank you. Sorry, Isa said while nervously poking his pointer fingers together. No, it's fine. It's part of the game. Doyle calmed down. Isa looked confused for a moment, and then quickly wrapped his hand around Doyle's observation. Okay, I'll now detach a material from Duo Drive to special summon it from my hand. Star Rizale. When he's summoned, I can set a Rizale spell or trap card from my deck. I'll pick the field spell Rizale Cross. Next, I'll use the effect of the card I had earlier, X Rizale, and I can summon it by sending a card from extra deck to the graveyard. I'll send number 18, Heraldry Patriarch. Barely a heraldry monster, but Anyway, it's devastating against Cyber Dragon though, and Blue Eyes. Mirabelle was stunned by the sudden play. Excuse me, did he just send a number straight to the graveyard? Calypso eased Mirabelle's worry. Don't worry about that. Don't get so worked up about that. That one's a copy. Oh, okay. Wait, that one? Oh boy. Hint! Mirabelle frantically said, realizing what Calypso had meant. Isa was preparing a new chain of effects. Now chain, exit Rises effect number 18. First, number 18 sends 2 Heraldic Beasts from my deck to the graveyard, Heraldic Beast Leo and Stadwhale. Next, exit Rises as a Fire Thunder monster from my deck to my hand, like Node Rizale. And on a new chain, I'll use Leo's effect to add a Heraldic monster to my hand, a Heraldic Beast from my deck to my hand. I'll add Griffin. Now it's time to battle. I'll use your combined creation to attack Creation King. Doyle braced himself with the first dosage of damage to the duel. Oh, sweet irony, my name is Honey! Life points go down to 6,000. Isa began panicking. Are you alright, Doyle? Doyle rose back up to his feet after being knocked out. Yeah, I'm fine. Don't hold back, man. This is the best duel I've had in a long time. Bring it! Isa's concern turned to resolve. If you say so, I'll have Duo Drive and Star Rizale attack your Silhouette Rabbit. I know it won't be destroyed by a battle, but you'll still take the damage. Life points go down to 4,700. Yeah. Now I'll move on to my main phase 2. And there, I'll special summon Node Ryzeo. And since there's an Xyz monster on my field or in my graveyard, as I continue, clearly having done this play like this before, Node lets me send a card from my hand or field to the graveyard to revive a Ryzeo. I'll bring back Ice Ryzeo. Isa clenched his fist. Doyle, I want to warn you before I continue. I don't normally do that. But since you're asking nicely, I will go all out for you. Doyle thought as this toothy grin. I wouldn't expect anything less, Isa. Isa rose both of his hands to his ears. I once again build the overlay network with Ice, X, and Star Ryzeo. Now, great arms of God, descend and rewrite our destiny. Appear right for number 69, Heraldry Crest. Such a cool name in the anime. Well, the sub. Heraldry Crest isn't a bad name. Moving on. As the creature descends the field, a purple number 69 appeared on Isa's hand. Mirabelle and Doyle both had the same reaction. Wait, is that the real one? Calypso chuckled while shaking her head from side to side. Were you expecting something less? Brina took Isa's defense immediately. That's my brother's other specialty. He found not just him, but all heraldic monsters. The legit ones, too. She is beaming with pride at her brother's accomplishment. Isa smiled at Doyle. Not bad, right? The mandatory effect of Crest activates, negating all other Xyz monsters in the field. That does not hurt me, since Duo Drive is already negated. But since that's out of the way, I'm free to play my final big boy. Doyle was in disbelief. Wait, there's more? What are you, some infomercial sales guy? Isa chuckled at the quip. No. I send my Herodic Beast Griffin from my hand to the graveyard to special summon another Ice Ryzeo. And now it's time to build the overlay network once again. This time with Node and Ice Ryzeo. Armor functioning, burst systems all clear. Electricity surging through me now because my protection. Appear right for Ryzeo Detonator! Not that thing! Doyle had seen that card before and was terrified of it. Isa was confused. You've encountered Detonator before? Doyle shook his head affirmatively. Very sticky card. Hard to out than the outlaws Harder to out than the in-laws at Thanksgiving. Isa nodded. I see. As soon as he could sense Isa's doubts creeping back up, Doyle redacted his previous statement. It's very cool, man. You should not let my distaste for a card stop you from playing it. Play dual monsters the way you play, Isa. He flashed a reaffirming smile and thumbs up Isa's way. Isa once again took Doyle's words to heart. You're very nice to me. Thank you. He shook his head and got back in the zone. Right. Detonator activates unless we attach a monster from my graveyard to itself. I'll attach number 18 to it. Doyle was in awe, even with the card he found annoying. Wow, that's actually a really cool way to bridge the decks together. Isa was astonished by this sudden praise, so thank you. Now end with one more little feature. I rebuild the overlay network with Heraldry Crest! Doyle was even more wait, you're going for a Chaos Xyz? Isa chuckled a bit. Not quite, no. Check this out. Xyz Evolution! Appear, number 69! Heraldry Crest, Shatter Stream! No way! Doyle stared down at the evolved number with a feeling of dread inside him. With that, I end my turn. Do you, like my number? Isa asked. Doyle put up a smile through his fears. Yeah! It's really cool that this Dual Spirit is the one you wanted to Is that the Dual Spirit you didn't want to show off? A sudden chill went up Isa's spine. You could say that, yeah. He makes my Dual Disc, but he lets me make my Dual Disc, but I want to see what you can do with this. Turn 3, Doyle's turn. Doyle's life points are 4,700 and Isa's are 8,000. With pleasure, Doyle shouted as he drew for his turn. Well, time to show off this little number I've been holding on to. Go! Dark Ruler no more! This negates all of your monster's effects until the end of the turn, but in exchange, you'll take no damage whatsoever. A small price to pay, but it'll make tearing that board apart all the easier. Isaac gritted his teeth. I can't respond with monster effects, so Detonator is out of the question. Joe began a follow-up play. Now I take care of that pesky feeble spell. I play Cosmic Cyclone. I pay 1,000 life points to negate Ryzeo to banish Ryzeo Cross. Throw that down to 3,700 life points. And now once again, I build the circuit. The Sonic Digits are 2 monsters with different names. Ice Set, Silhouette Rabbit, and Trick into the Link Arrows. Link Summon, Link 2, Haggard Lizardos. Doyle says he summoned his new card. Calypso was puzzled. Miss Campbell, could you enlighten me on what that play was for? He gave up a cute little illusion much for that hideous lizard. That was a perfectly good defense you tossed out. Having expected such a question, Doyle smiled and cleared the air. I'm glad you asked, Callie. Calypso rolled her eyes at this, very amused. But first, I'll use effect. By banishing a monster from my field or graveyard, I can target a monster in the field and make its attack points equal to the monster I banished. So I'll have Lizardos banish itself to target your Detonator. Detonator goes down for 3,800 attack points. And since the monster was originally a reptile-type monster, I draw a bonus card to boot. Doyle's eyes twinkled in amazement at the amazing top deck. And look at that! I drew Mementian Darkblade, which will immediately normal summon! I gotta say that's good use for the Haggard Lizard, just to bring up the price. An imaginary light bulb lit over Maribel's head. Oh, now I get it! Doyle's Memento combo needs this horse thing to summon to work, which requires that he only has Memento monsters or none at all. So by using Lizardos, he can clear up the field so he can use his combo again. A nod of acknowledgement from Doyle said it all. You got it, Teach. Now, let's do it. I'll use Darkblade's effect, destroying itself to summon a level 3 or lower Memento. So I'll just bring back your old friend, Ainge Witch, and her effect adds Tatsu. And you know the drill. I'll summon Tatsu, then use this effect for real this time. Nothing can stop you this time. Let's see Tatsu in action, Isa said excitedly. Alright. Horse Thing! Activate your effect, and pop a Memento monster to send from 1 Memento from my deck to the grave, as long as your levels are equal to the destroyed monsters. So, Tatsu is a level 5, meaning I get send a Memento whose level adds up to 5. Isa was shocked. Wow. Oh, sorry. Send Mementos whose level equal up to 5. Isa was in shock. Wow, that's insane! Guess negating that on my first turn was the right play. Joe gave Isa a thumbs up. You got it, Isa. This caused Isa to smile and close his eyes in an upside-down V shape. So in that case, I will set in level 2 Mementian Gatic and level 3 Mementian Sheeple. Gatic now activates. Then when this card is sent to the graveyard by Memento Monster's effect, I can revive him. And on top of that, I'll chain my field spell Mementocelian. Since a monster I control was destroyed, I can target it to revive a monster with a lower level. Since Tatsu here is level 5, I can revive my level 4 Dark Blade. As the summon of Gatic concluded, Dora's expression dropped. The collar around his neck rendered the Gatic just a normal attic ghost, and not the happy dustball he knew. Why didn't you just ask for help? Apparently she was just gonna unlock anyone's thing. I guess you were too roughhouseian. Anyway, he did not let that deter him for long. Gadic's effect on summon will let me add a Memento card from my graveyard to my hand, just like Sheeply. And then just like the Sheeply I just sent. Now I will build now I'll generate my circuit. The circuit conditions require 2 monsters with different names. I'll set Ainge Witch and Dark Blade into the arrows. I Link Summon. Link 2, Cross Sheep. Bruno was confused. What's so cute about a sheep needing some bootleg merchandise? There are bound to be hundreds of trackers around that, and that the right people will use it to gather information to use when they invade and make their new world order. I am now calling Brenna Styx, and you cannot stop me. I don't blame me though. Styx is one of the best Sonic characters. She may be a conspiracy theorist, but she was right more often than not. Anyway, Mirabo turned to her and raised a finger to object, but Calypso lowered her hand down as soon as she was about to speak. Just go with it, Mary. Sheeply's effect act can trigger since a monster of mine was destroyed by a card effect, so I can summon him and then fuse. So I'll fuse him in Gatic to bring back Twin Dragon. Then I'll use effect on summon, and I'll gain Cross Sheep, and I'll chain Cross Sheep since a fusion monster was fusion summoned into one of its link arrows. This lets me revive a level 4 or lower monster, like Ainge Witch. Twin Dragon then pops itself to add Horn Dragon and Goblin. Twin Graveyard effect activates and revives Sheeply. Now it's time for 2 more Link summons. The Sun Gadgets are 2 effect monsters, so I'll use Sheeply and Cross Sheep to Link summon Link 2, Moon of the Closed Heavens. Ugh, the child of the goth mommy. Mirabout's eyes wanders. Oh boy, Moon can only mean uninterrupted. Doyle continued. Now once again, I'll build my circuit. The Sonic Gadgets are 2 monsters that include a Light Fiend monster. So I'll use Moon and Horn Dragon to Link summon Link 2, Fiendsmith Sequence. I can't escape these frickin' things! Just ban the entire archetype. I don't even care anymore. Just ban them all. I don't even care if none of them did anything wrong. I'm just tired of seeing them frickin' everywhere. Oh, I'm so tired. Oh. Anyway. Okay, phew, it's just memento. Oh, Maribel says she settled down. It's just, well, oh, phew, it's just pure memento. Liar. Liar. Joe gave Maribel a confused look. Why wouldn't it be? Surely I would have gone into Fiendsmith stuff more by now, right? Maribel gave a confused look, looked around in defeat. Well, my bad. Guess I jumped the gun there. Doyle flashed her a smile. It's all good. We can't be right all the time. Now use Secret's effect, letting me fuse by shuffling monsters from my grave back to the deck. I'll fuse Cross Sheet with Moon. I fusion summon level 6 Baphomet, mythical king of the Phantom Beast. Somewhere Vincent is sneezing and doesn't know why. Baphomet's effect lets me send one Unchained of Shima to the graveyard. Oh my god, we're really mixing and matching now. Then I'll use the effect of Shima straight away. By destroying Sequence on my field, I can revive him. Brita got excited when she saw this was going. Wait, 2 level 6 monsters? I smell an Exceed summon. And the feral chick is rut today. Sweet. No! I hate myself. And the feral chick is tonight's big winner. She wins! The joy of being correct, Doyle said, ever the comedian pointing to Brina with the enthusiasm of a game show host. A small yay from Brina could be heard. I overlay Baphomet with Shima to Exceed summon rank 6 Wallow, founder of the Drudge Dragons. But that's not all. It's time for the return of my strongest card. I shuffle back 5 mementos: Horned Dragon, Sheeply, Twin Dragon, Gaddock, and Darkblade. Rise from your grave. Memento Cthulhian. Combined creation. Sue me. Aisha looked up in terror. There it is again. Thankfully, I take no damage against the Dark Ruler, but my board is in for a world of hurt. You know, they should really make a Dark Ruler yes board. It's like if Dark Ruler double was activated, negate that. Or just like one that, like, if you won't take any damage this turn, take double damage or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, Doyle grinned. And by the way, Willow gives all my monsters 1,000 attack points for each card in your graveyard. I count 10, so that's a nice 1,000 point boost. Oh, sorry, a 100 attack point boost per monster. 1,000, that'd be insane. Oh wait, an insane Yugioh card that's incredibly busted. Where are the odds? Anyway, Willower's attack points go up to 3,400, Angel goes up to 1,800, and Cthulhian Combined Creation goes up to 6,000. And now I'm up to 6,000. Well, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. I love that line. Now attack your monsters. Go! Doyle shouts. Angel Witch attack the weakened Detonator, Cthulhian the evolved number 69, and Willow the negated Duo Driver. As the barrage began, Isa's eyes quivered as he felt a strange feeling inside him. Once the smoke cleared, Isa had changed. He was donned in armor with shades of red, green, and cyan. The 6 piercing orange eyes glared down from beneath a green hood, complete with a cape flowing from it. A deep, robotic voice spoke out. You dare attempt to strike Isa down? Pathetic. Take on someone your own size, you absolute waste of a duelist. What the hell happened here? The tension in the room was palpable. Had this happened before? Brianna went over the table and reached out for her brother. Isa, are you in there, buddy? The cloaked figure turned at light speed and forcibly grabbed Brianna's hand before it could connect. Touch him and suffer the wrath of Mercury. Mercury? Brianna croaked as he said that. This wasn't... He couldn't finish before Mercury had already thrown her across the room. Calypso and Maribel rushed over to check on Brina. I smell an alter ego. Although having an alter ego that's a robot, that's certainly new. Mercury's sight, it was now set on Doyle. Patriarch's effect goes off since it was attacked to Detonator you destroyed. Now I can send 2 heroic beasts to the graveyard. I send Leo and Griffin. Leo then lets me add the 3rd copy and final copy of Griffin to my hand. I end my turn, Doyle to conclude. And once again, Celian lets me set a Memento spell trap to my back row. I'll set the Momentilian Fusion this time. I don't know what's going on with you, Isa, but I swear I'll bring you back. All who dare hurt Isa shall punish! Mercury drew for turn, continuing the duel in Isa's place. Doyle's at 3,700, Mercury's at 8,000. Turn 4. He came right at the gate swinging. I begin by playing Infinite Impermanence. I target and negate your founder of the Judge Dragons. Before he goes, I'll chain Willow's effect. Doyle decided, wishing to minimize his loss. I detach 2 overlay units to set a card from Isa's graveyard. I'll set Ice's triple tactics talent to my field. Then since you activate a card, I can use combined creation effect on a news chain. I can summon a memento monster from my hand or grave. I'll bring back Creation King! Mercury began to laugh as robotic as ever. Bait taken. Now how ironic is it that I had that card? Another triple tactics talent. I shall elect to take control of your combined creation. Joe gritted his teeth at that scenario before him. After an instant of turmoil, he realized he had an out. That's regrettably fine. He realized an out. Calypso shot Doyle a glare. Tell me, boy, do you have a plan? He was silent. He turned to her, looking her in the eyes as severe as he ever had. Get her somewhere safe. Calypso stared back with a newfound respect for Doyle. She scooped Brienne into her arms, and she and Maribel ran out of here rushed off to get her looked at. Mercury decided to finish off Doyle with a taste of his own medicine. Enter battle phase. Combined creation shall attack one of your monsters, since I have no other monsters. The duel is over. Not quite, Doyle shouted defiantly. Upon entering the battle phase, I activate Creation King's effect. I can destroy Age Witch and combine creation. Sorry, but your irony wasn't foolproof. And on top of that, Momentocelian's effect triggers since Age Witch was destroyed. And since it was a level 3, I can special summon one Momentolian Goblin from my hand. Mercury let out a groan of frustration. Very well. Proceed to main phase 2. I special summon Heroic Beast Griffin by sending my third Leo to from the deck to the graveyard. Leo lets me add a Heroic Beast Unicorn to my hand. Normal summon Unicorn. Then construct the overlay network. I now exceed summon rank 4 Ryzeal Duo Drive. On summon Duo Drive, it lets me attach the Ryzeal to my graveyard. I choose Detonator to attach. Now I see the Duo Driver was a hint. Doyle decided to act now. On resolution of Duo Driver, I will play my face down card. The quick play spell Momentocelian Fusion. I'll change with my other face down, Momentocelian Bone Party. I pop Creation King on the field to add Archon to my hand. And now I fuse Momentocelian Ace and Arakion into my Akahiran from my hand, as well as Goblin with my field. I fuse these 3 monsters created to create a new life! A new beast embodying the power of fusion emerges. The willpower of these 3 apex creatures. Prove the sum of your parts. Surpass those you were once before. Surpass those you once were. Fusion summon. Level 9. Guardian Chimera. Guardian Chimera's effect lets me draw a card for each fusion material from my hand and destroy a card for each one in the field. So I'll use from my field and draw 2 from my hand. So I'll pop your Duo Drive to draw 2. Big mistake, Mercury replied coldly. First, I'll use the effect of the Stag Whale in my hand. By banishing it, I can revive 2 Heroic Beasts from the same name. So I'll bring back 2 copies of Griffin. With these 2 monsters, I construct the overlay network. I exceed summon rank 4, number 60, Dogaress of the Timeless. I activate the effect, attaching 2 materials and skipping my next main phase to revive a monster from my graveyard. I revive Ryzeal Detonator. Doyle grimaced. Great. I thought I had him here since he had no cards left in hand, but lo and behold, he was able to bounce back. This isn't looking good. Mercury continued his comeback. Detonator on summon will attach number 18 to itself once again. Now activate Unicorn's effect. By banishing it from the graveyard, I can revive a Psychic-type monster. Return to the field, number 69. Heraldry Crest, Shatter Stream. I end my turn there. You stand no chance to ever hurt Isa again. And life points 3,700, 8,000. It's Doyle's turn. As he drew for turn, Doyle began to formulate a way to play around the Detonator and Shatter Stream. Alright, on my turn, I'll bring back my combined creation once more. I shuffle all 3 Memento monsters in my graveyard. Now activate the spell card 1 for 1. I send 1 monster from my hand to the graveyard to special a level 1 monster from my deck. Mercury immediately went in for the kill. I activate the effect of Ryzeal Detonator. I target your combined creation and destroy it. A smile formed on Doyle's face. Look who just took the bait. Go! Momentocelian Cranium Burst! Remember, this trap card has another effect since I have combined creation in play. I can make my monster lose 1,000 attack points to negate Detonator's effect. Mercury declared. Very well. Number 18 activates. I send 2 copies of Heroic Beast Aberconway to the graveyard. And on a new chain, Combined Creation's effect activates. I'll use him to revive my my Creation King once again. Doyle normally would have been thrilled to bring back his favorite fusion monster, but this time, business needed to be taken care of. Isa, I know you're in there somewhere, and now's the time to bring you back. Enter battle phase. Creation King, attack detonator. Effect activate, Mercury declared. Since you're attacking, it's prime time to activate Shatter Stream. I can revive him once more, then destroy your Creation King. What? Doyle shouted in alarm as his fusion was once again destroyed. Mercury chanted. Exceed summon. Come forth, number 69. Herald request. Dark Matter Demolition! I do think it's very cool that they made 69 have all the forms it had in the anime when they were pulling that crap out. That was a good duel though, Vectrix / Tron versus Yuma. Very well. Guardian Chimera, attack that thing! Doyle commanded. The Chimera pounces a new number. The Chimera pounces the newly evolved monster, only for nothing to happen. Dark Matter Demolition is impervious to all forms of destruction, Mercury stated. Doyle grinned his grief and frustration. Fine! Creation King and Willow, focus your attack on Detonator and Durgarus. Mercury took the hits with only mild concern, seeing as his monsters were in defense mode. Alright, on to main phase 2, I summon Ainswitch again. Now use her effect to cease this futile attempt at destroying us. I use number 69's effect. I can use an overlay unit to make your Ainswitch name unknown. And while Dark Matter's in the field, the unactivated effects of all monsters unknown on the field are negated. Very well. Perfect for me anyway. Very well. Perfect for me, actually, Doyle remarked. As he began to review his trump card. I wanted to bait your monster's effects since I wasn't sure what Dark Matter did. But now that you cut me off from beginning my combo all over again, it'll cost you. Because now I use the very card that I used to play early in the duel. This card, I used the card I set with Willow. Triple Tactics talent. Now I can take control of Dark Matter Demolition. What? No! Mercury was at a loss for words. Nothing, Mercury. What? No, I nothing, Mercury. Since I cannot attack anymore this turn, I will instead make sure you don't get your number back. I build my circuit. The Sun Conditions are 2 effect monsters. I link summon Link 2, Moon of the Closed Heaven. You can't. How could you do this? You. How could this be? Mercury bellowed. Does he only have Link 2s in that deck? Doyle lifted his beanie. Because, Mercury, you focused so much on protecting and attacking that you never paid attention to what Isa had already played. You were so blinded by rage and it overtook you, and now it'll cost you. I set 1 card and passed to you. It's true, he was focusing so much on attack and defense, he didn't really look at his, well, he'd screwed himself in a way. Draw, Mercury stated coldly. Mercury stated coldly. He only had the card he had drawn left in his hand. He set it down. Turn end. Until the summoner spoke up. During the end phase, I'll use my trap and went to Celian Fracture Dance. This will destroy your set card. Mercury remained completely silent as the turn moved to Doyle. And telepathy exchange. Move on. Doyle did not delay. All my monsters attack Mercury directly and Fury Isa! The monster attacked and Mercury braced himself even in defeat. Mercury's life points 0. Doyle wins. You wanted raw, you're getting raw. As the dust cleared, Mercury was on his knees. Doyle cautiously approached, only to see the 6 orange lights of Mercury light up. In an instant, he lunged at Doyle, grabbing and holding him by the shirt collar. Dude, what's your deal? Doyle desperately asked. Haven't you been paying attention, you whelp? All who dare to hurt Isa shall perish. Mercury raised his fist to finish off Doyle with a single punch. Doyle began to plead with his soon-to-be assailant. Mercury, please, I don't mean Isa any harm. He and I were just having a duel for the heck of it. Look around you. Isa is a maximum security prison, for gosh sakes. Nobody would ever dream of hurting him here. You're not familiar with prisons, aren't you? Mercury remained motionless as Doyle took note of what he said. Well, then I said I was yeah. Anyway, nobody with a brain would ever dream of hurting him here. He winced in preparation for the impending doom. Mercury, still holding his fist up, stopped and looked around. He observed his surroundings. He really began to digest what Doyle had said. I see, he said with an handed Doyle's shirt. Kudos for not killing me, and for being capable of rational thought. So it seems that Mercury had basically framed Isa for the crimes like he did something wrong. Like, someone hurt Isa, I'll kill them, and Isa took the blame. Great. Mercury extended an arm outward. Doyle braced for impact. Oh, wait, I think it's... No, wait, no. Braced for impact, preparing for some form of attack. Instead, he opened his eyes and saw Mercury's outstretched hand. On your feet. I'm giving you a task. He helped Doyle to his feet. He took the armored Avenger's hand. Thanks, Doyle said, still panting. He proceeded to take a seat at the nearby table. Mercury followed suit. Since you're not an enemy of Isa, it would be a fallacy to call you a friend, Mercury pounded aloud. I suppose so. I don't really have many since I kinda drift alone, Doyle replied. He pulled out his deck as well as his dual disc and the cards out. These cards are really all I had growing up. Just a lot of going into abandoned cities and seeing a lot of strange sights. That's about it. Never really thought about adding anybody else. Mercury's eyes flickered one by one. I cannot make it alone. Doyle raised his eyebrow. What's up? One cannot make it alone. Isolating yourself will only doom you with despair. You cannot reconcile that. You are truly lost in this world. Sorry, if you cannot reconcile that. It's one line, I still managed to screw it up. Hearing that made Doyle think deeply. Maybe Mercury was right. Maybe he did need others to shoulder his burden he placed on him. Nah, that burden was placed on the team. Sorry, no, that burden placed on them. Listen, Mercury. Listen, Mercury cut to the silence. Since no threat remains, I shall take my leave of this place. But the moment Isa is in any form of danger or fear, I will return. And you best hope to not be the one confronting him. Watch yourself, Campbell. Oh, Mercury's a little bit more sneaky than we thought. He had the mindless killing machine. Ugh. Mercury began to glow in a bright cyan light, which dissipated just as quickly as it arrived. Isa was left behind, staying in the exact same pose Mercury was in before the flash. What? What happened? Doyle? Is everything okay? He shot Isa a smile upon asking him. Yeah, we just had a great duel. I wish you could have seen the whole thing, but, yeah. Isa looked down, worrying about what had happened. Did you hurt yourself at all? Oh, let me see. 2 arms, 2 legs, head, torso. Yeah, we're all good here. Doyle quipped. There is something we need to talk to you about, though. When you got attacked in our duel, what was the last thing you remembered? Yeah, there was just nothing. Like I was struck in a suit of armor with no way out. I got scared and that fear didn't go away. At least until suddenly it all just washed over me. I didn't hurt anybody. I hope I didn't hurt anyone. And yeah, Doyle practically froze. Brenna tried to comfort you, or Mercury, I should say, and then he tossed you aside. She was nothing. I began to panic. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. It happened again? Doyle ran over and put his hand on Isa's shoulder. Hey, it's gonna be okay. Brenna's in the infirmary now. She's getting treated for her injuries. Not to mention, it wasn't your fault. It was whoever hijacked your body back there. I don't want to hurt anybody, Doyle. Please don't let me. Isa began to tear up. He quickly wrapped his arms around Doyle, wanting some form of positive reinforcement. The words of Mercury echoed in Doyle's mind, about how one cannot make it alone. He and Isa would make it. They wouldn't be lost in the world. Doyle reconciled Isa's embrace and hugged him back, ensuring that everything would be okay. It's alright, buddy. Everything will work out in the end. Isa was noticeably calmed down, but still not anywhere near a smile. Thank you, Doyle. You're a good friend. The last word Doyle hadn't been that last word. Doyle hadn't been called that before. He let that sink in and he smiled. He smiled with happiness he hadn't felt in a long time. A few minutes later, Doyle asked Isa a question. You want to go back and I can check on your sis? Isa nodded somberly. The two of them made their way, leaving the cafeteria behind. Along the way, I want you to tell me some stuff regarding what happened in our duel, Isa. Sorry, I want to tell you some stuff that happened in the duel. We're still in the prison in the infirmary room. Isa and Doyle entered the room, continuing their conversation. So his name is Mercury, you see, Isa said. Yepers. So his name is Mercury, you said? Isa replied. Yepers. So I gotta keep an eye out for, eye on you. I gotta keep an eye on your fear or else, Doyle was suddenly cut off. A familiar voice broke the conversation. Or else you get flung into the wall faster than 5G radio waves crows through your tin foil. The two... The two found the three ladies around a bed with Brenna leading. She was equipped with medical equipment and had bandages around her head. I take it Brenna's fine, Doyle said to Isa. Calypso nodded. Just some bruising, things you can't handle. She'll be ready for once the staff runs a few more tests. Brenna was still showing everything in her power. The pyramids were brought here by Neptune squids, not aliens! New Neanderthals! Isa walked by Brenna's bedside and knelt for her. Oh, Brenna, I'm so sorry I let that thing living in my body hurt you. If only I had known the trigger, I could have... Hey, don't worry about it, bro. I'll be fine, Brenna said with a confident smirk. Isa looked down sadly. Brenna, however, knew how to make her brother smile. Hey, bro, I slung something out of the cafeteria. Mirabelle, can you grab it? Mirabelle scouted over to the nearby pile of tinfoil. She handed some pre-made s'mores under there. Isa's favorite. Isa gasped in delight. S'mores! He had to eat. He was now smiling ear to ear. He scooped up one and ate it immediately. Ate it slowly. Wanted to cherish every single bite. And that was given up really quickly as Isa began devouring the remaining s'mores like a wolf after a hunt. So you smuggled those out in tinfoil? Doyle asked. Brenna was beaming with pride. No one would ever dare to look there if there were ever any No one would ever dare look there if they valued their brainwaves. Also, Calypso, would you mind using your dual spirit ability to speed this up? I'd like to not be the reason the journey of ours ends like the Area 51 raid. You know, I still don't know how that raid ended. Probably in tragedy, but I remember everyone going over and surrounding Area 51, and then the story just kind of ended. Maybe I didn't look into it, just one of those things, you know? Maybe it's for the best, I don't know. That was a lot of them. Just be like, hey, there's this new big disaster thing happen. Okay, can we get a follow-up? No, we're moving on to the next story already. Or talking about sports. Anyway, Calypso shot Brenna a smile. Sure thing, girlie. Just let me get Maribel over here to undo this contraption around my neck. Might as well. We're going straight to the main gate after this. I'll remove all your collars per Justy's orders, Maribel said as she began to unlock Calypso. Isa was confused. You mean Justy's not coming with us? Maribel shook her head. He's got too much to worry about around here. Also thinks I would be just fine. Also thinks just me would be fine. Though your new little surprise, I have my doubts. With your new little surprise, I have my doubts. Calypso's collar became undone as she held up her hand. Thank you, doll. I'll take it from here. Her eyes lit up blue as he took some water from a nearby sink. The water flowed into Brina's bandages and her bruising. The healing process was accelerated by the flow of water onto Brina's system, causing the bruises to go down. I think European healthcare is amazing. Imagine with the dual spirit. Well, it depends on the spirit, of course. Good as new, Brina declared, jumping to her feet and ripping off the bandages. Let's go find ourselves a contact. Man, I'd love to see how Naga explains how this one's a giant, massive threat. I'm sure she'd be able to pull some explanation out of her ass. That's the spirit, Brina. The coordinates listed on the file will take us north. So let's get started. Yeah. I've got camp supplies and food loaded to the truck, and then that will take us here. We'll take some older roads to avoid traffic, Maribel stated as she looped a key ring around her finger. Then she dropped it. She scrubbed to pick it back up again. Oh, crumbs. Now we're on the outskirts of the security prison. The passless truck sped down the road, making its way to the destination. As they sped down the road, however, something caught their sight, or rather, somebody. Somebody had their sights on them. Ma'am, the targets are in sight. Shall I engage? The mysterious assailant had some sort of demonic rifle, clearly. The work of a dual spirit trained on the targets. The earpiece suddenly crackled to life. It was a feminine voice. Stop them in the nearby swamp. Then, when the time is right, you'll know what to do. The sniper nodded, keeping an eye on the truck as it faded into the horizon. The passless had and began to write their own story. Free of the binds, free of the burdens, free of the judgment, and the journey continues. And we're still not done! Elsewhere in Astropia, in an underground arena, deep in the underground, the person who was talked to in the sniper ended the transmission reclined in a makeshift throne of metal. Everything is going according to my genius plan. Soon the marked ones will be right where I want them, and I will get them, and I will give them what they rightfully deserved. And I will get what I rightfully deserve. She followed a wicked cackle. She had green hair that faded into bright pink. She wore a dark pink catsuit with a dark curved turquoise belt around her. On her suit's chest was a very familiar mark. "Athena!" asked another figure. "I humbly request that you let me partake in the next step's conquest more directly. Send me out, and let me slay those vermin." This figure was a tall, red-haired man and wearing an orange and dark maroon cloak. He was bushy, red eyebrows with his deep orange eyes and yellow diamond-shaped pupils. He also had an orange undershirt with the same emblem as Athena's suit. Athena raised her hand onto her chin and crossed her legs over one another. Let me think about that, Ajax. Nah, not yet. That would be a rash decision, and we cannot repeat any of our previous attempts. This time, everybody must be planned and executed up to the T. This time, the pawns will need to be in place. 2 of them already are, and I move 2 more in place shortly. And when the time comes, you will be the one of them. Ajax smiled ravenously. At last, mankind will bear witness to its great successor. I, Ajax Metis, will make the end of humanity as glorious as its genesis. Fire and brimstone? Yeah, sure, whatever you say. Just act when I say, my child. Athena turned to Ajax with a warm smile. You are but one of my creations, and you are not invincible. Invincible! You're also not invisible, so that's not a lie either. We got very close to this last time, and then that blasted fiend had to show her face and ruin all my fun! This time, this time will be it. I just know it, Ajax. Athena rose, revealing exactly how staggeringly tall she truly was. She stood an entire head taller than the already tall Ajax. She walked towards a doorway, made preparations of her grand scheme to begin, and it all starts by getting rid of her. Finish Chapter 1. I'm just gonna read the notes. Thank you all for reading Yu-Gi-Oh! Meridian. I've always wanted to do a Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan series for almost a decade and a half now. A massive thank you to Alan TCG, Spooky Electronics, Dookie, Design Cookie Wolf for motivating me to make this. I hope you all enjoyed the series going forward. I don't have much for end notes of this chapter, but I will also give some behind-the-scenes notes and whatnot on the future chapters. Here is one for you. Each chapter will be named after a different song. You should give them a listen sometime, either before or after reading. Thank you all. Obus Among Us. Alright. And that's the end of the chapter. Honestly, despite the long length and a lot of words, like a lot, you're forcing Yu-Gi-Oh! Players to read. But jokes aside, it's like, it is an overall well-written story. Like, they're all trapped in the prison facility. They don't know how they got there, or at least most don't. Some of them had lives already before this. We don't get to see the suit. Oh well, what are you gonna do? Try to figure out who's who in this one. Yeah. Where is it? Yeah. Some people don't know how they got there, especially our main boy Doyle here. Just try to figure things out. And some people have more powers than others, but everyone seems to have a power of their own thanks to their dual spirits ability, which unfortunately was harnessed due to these stupid cards, which is a nice detail that they have on. Not so much on Isa, but then again it's kind of cut off there. Plus, yeah, it's fine. It doesn't need to be every single person, I guess. If it doesn't fit the thing, it doesn't really matter. You try to go for the best shot possible. Anywho, the duel itself is really well scripted too. It's a lot of things happening, but that's just modern Yu-Gi-Oh! In a nutshell. Reading it just screams to me like, modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Comboing for 12 hours for one turn, and the entire turn is 7 minutes. It's 7 turns or something like that. Frick, it doesn't really matter the amount of turns or something like that. It just reminds me of freaking Underground members. He's joking, just like, that card is safe for late game. What's late game nowadays? Turn 2? Not wrong. Oi. Anyway, but yeah, the duel was scripted well. I did like seeing the new form for Ice and the robot outfit. I imagine that'll be interesting going forward, and the power that he has. And a good idea with the 69 going into alternative forms, keeping the duel entertaining. And honestly, the most interesting thing to me was all the mixing of archetypes. Of course, that's the name of the script for and all that stuff, and it's cool that all these archetypes can move together. It's just that sometimes it feels like wait, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? What are you doing here? It's amazing how many archetypes can go together like that, am I right? Yeah. And the background characters were all fun with their like little character beats, and mostly Maribel screaming out the friggin' like tinfoil hat conspiracy theories. But like I said about Styx, she was right more often than not. because the difference between a conspiracy theorist and the actual news is about 2 weeks nowadays. That's hyperbole, but it's a joke. And sometimes right. Anyway, but yeah, overall good episode. I'm looking forward to see what comes next. I'm looking forward to the next chapter of Yugioh Meridian. Like I said at the beginning, chapter 3 is along the way if it hasn't been posted already, so please check it out on your own time. There is a link to the link to the chapters in the description below if you want to read chapter 2 on your own time before I get to it and butcher the hell out of it. But until that time, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I certainly didn't. Joke. And I hope to see all of you next time. And until that time, goodbye!